Viewers, we turn to another issue that the opposition has used to whip up protest slogans and allegations on the streets. The SIR exercise. The court today upheld the Election Commission's power to conduct intensive electoral roll revision, stressing that a cleanup of the voter list is essential for free and fair elections. So what now happens to those who call this a backdoor NRC? Those who accuse the BJP and the Election Commission of destroying democracy? Because after months of alarmism, the exercise they attack now carries judicial backing. And yet today, instead of introspection or course correction, some opposition voices are dismissing the verdict, others questioning institutions yet again. Even the Supreme Court? Well, perhaps the loudest silence tonight is Rahul Gandhi. The man who led the vote loot charge now has nothing to say after the Supreme Court backed the Election Commission's powers to conduct an SIR.
वहां भी बोल रहे हैं लोग, चाइना में भी लोग बोल रहे हैं वोट चोर गद्दी चोर, अमेरिका में भी बोल रहे हैं। मैं आपको इस स्टेट से कह रहा हूं कि पूरे हिंदुस्तान में विधानसभा के चुनाव, लोकसभा के चुनाव चोरी किए जा रहे हैं और इनकी आखिरी साजिश ये है कि बिहार में SIR करके नए वोटरों को जोड़कर, वोटरों को काट कर ये बिहार का चुनाव चोरी करे।
The issue of vote chori is not a Congress or a BJP issue. It's an India issue, which is your issue.
एक तरह का NRC है, ये पूरा ऑपोजिशन कह रहा है।
बीजेपी এরা হচ্ছে দানবিক পার্টি, 100টা সিট নিয়োগ করেছে।
You're watching the News Hour at 9. Debate number 2 on Times Now. Super Prime Time.
Joining Dr. Sudhanshu Trivedi, Ishkaran Bhandari and Sanjay Jha are Faizan Kidwai and Nilanjan Das. Nilanjan Das, I want to ask you, the Supreme Court today has given its verdict. It says no direct conflict with the Representation of People Acts. In fact, undertaken to advance the constitutional imperative of conducting free and fair elections. Every single argument that the opposition gave has been thrown out of the window by the Supreme Court. What would you say now? Not just the court of justice, but the court of the people. You've lost your case.
You see, Navika, first of all, I want to wish everyone celebrating a happy Eid al-Adha. And today, what we saw in Supreme Court, this was expected. Nothing is unexpected because the entire process has been done. The election has been conducted. We have seen mass disenfranchisement. And the Supreme Court, unfortunately, has upheld it. This was their observation long back. So today, it has just been formalized. We have just got the transcript of
what are you trying to say? What are you trying to? This was expected. You knew the verdict. You knew the verdict. Are you casting aspersions on the highest court of the land?
No. I'm not saying anything like that. I'm saying the Supreme Court failed in its duty to look into the constitutionality of the exercise because we have seen that.
Oh. So whenever the Supreme Court doesn't agree with you, the Supreme Court has failed in its duties. Sanjay Jha, is that a justified view to take? Is that a justified view?
Navika, I'll just make 2 points. Number one, that the Supreme Court's observation when 27 to 34 lakh voters could not vote in West Bengal, saying that they should be okay and happy that they're in the voter rolls and they will vote in the next election. I'm sure nobody who's watching this program, and definitely not anybody on the panel, will agree that that was fair. Can you imagine? Legitimate citizens were denied the right to vote. And to establish that point, take the example, Navika. 6,000 cases were only heard which went to adjudication. 4,500 got it in their favor, which means if you extrapolate that number to 34 lakh, around 70% of the people were legitimate voters who were denied the right to vote. And the Supreme Court was kosher with that.
You know, that
to
is
my
a-
mind,
that is
to my
a-
mind, that is a failure
That is
of
a very arbitrary argument, in which case you can say count only 10 EVMs, because in the first 10 EVMs, if you get 50% of the vote, extrapolate, and that is the final voting. You know, that argument doesn't hold, number one. Number two, you said adjudication. Let me remind you about Malda and judicial officers being held hostage. That is justified. Supreme Court's verdict, not justified. Sudhanshu Trivedi ji, please respond.
The Supreme Court has not been able to hold the tribunals. The people who are responsible, the judicial officers responsible for holding the tribunals.
Now I would like to respond, Navika ji, on a totally different. तो भाई क्या तरीका है यार, ये पॉलिटिकल एनालिस्ट है क्या है, बैठ के अपना कंटिन्यूअस कमेंट्री कर रहे हैं. सर आप अपने टर्न पे बोलिए. देखिए, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल आई वुड लाइक टू आस्क अ क्वेश्चन इन अ टोटली डिफरेंट मैनर. You are alleging that you tried your level best, but you couldn't win the election. Now I ask 4-5 specific questions to our all opponents. Amit Shah ji said that I will remain there in Bengal for 25 days. Has Rahul Gandhi sat down to any of the state? Forget about Bengal. In Assam, you were one of the claimant because main opposition party. How many days they remained in Bengal? How many days he remained in Assam? No. Even in the Kerala, even 10 days he was not there. During the election, he was in Nicobar and Vietnam. Second thing, हमारे यहाँ शक्ति केंद्र की बैठक होती है, मंडल अध्यक्ष स्तर की बैठकें होती हैं, हमारे यहाँ बूथ लेवल कमेटीज हैं. बताइए कितनी बार बूथ लेवल कमेटीज की आपने देखा है? दिखाइए सोशल मीडिया पे. बूथ लेवल कमेटी की बैठक करनी नहीं है, शक्ति केंद्र की बैठक करनी नहीं है, आपने मंडल अध्यक्ष की बैठक करनी नहीं है. वहां पर आकर अच्छा चलिए, राहुल गांधी ने कितनी रैलियां की और हमारे नेताओं ने कितनी रैलियां की? रैली करनी नहीं है. और तो
Sanjay Jha, again you're being unfair. When you spoke, he did not utter a word. You know, you are also becoming like the unruly political workers in every political party. Sanjay Jha, what's happened to you?
I just object to fake news, that's all.
Sanjay Jaji uses...
In which case, when I object, you should not, have an objection when I call out your fake news.
Let your turn come and you totally demolish my argument. I just want to know how many booth level meetings Rahul Gandhi has undertaken, how many mandal president level meeting he has taken, how many district president meeting he has taken, how many days he remained consistently in one state, and how many days, how many rallies he has done. Nil. During the entire
Faizan Kidwai, I want to ask. Every political party has to work hard on the ground. You can't just end up blaming the Election Commission and the Supreme Court.
Who has not filled up his answer sheet properly and then put the entire...
Okay, Sudhanshu Trivedi ji, your time is up, sir. The question is to me.
Yes,
so
Faizan
kindly
Kidwai.
chill for a moment. Good evening, Navika. Good evening to you and to the fellow panelists. See, Navika, I heard you said the opposition is casting aspersions on the honorable courts. No, Navika, it was Nishikant Dubey of BJP who accused the CJI for starting a civil war. We don't do that. So this is the character of Bharatiya Janata Party. And as far as Election Commission is concerned, Navika, nobody has given a clean sheet to Election Commission. Samajwadi Party and India Bloc at large, we were never against cleansing of electoral rolls. What we objected was weaponization of SIR to disenfranchise legitimate voters. Election Commission overstepping its constitutional mandate. And if you see today's observations, Election Commission has said what Samajwadi and India Bloc have been saying for such a long time, that Election Commission cannot be a judge in determining somebody's citizenship. They can only inquire about citizenship when it comes to checking voter eligibility. That's it. And SIR deletion doesn't mean your citizenship is cancelled. I would draw your attention, Navika, to the observations of Honorable Justice Bagchi. He raised serious concerns about large-scale deletions. He raised concerns about deviation from the Bihar SIR procedure. He even said, why is this logical discrepancy being included? He also pointed out that when the winning margin is 2% and the votes deleted is 10 to 15%, then it really shakes the faith in democratic process. Now, Navika, factor this. Please listen to this data. It's very, very important. 27 lakh plus Bengalis, their names were put under adjudication.
We've been over those numbers. I'm short of time. I only want to debate what the Supreme Court has said today. You'll bear with me, Faizan Kidwai. Ishkaran Bhandari, the Supreme Court says. The Supreme Court says the Election Commission, even in the documentation, had asked for the right kind of documents, and there was judicial intervention. That purview was increased. They didn't find anything wrong in what the Election Commission did. They said that purity of electoral process is the cornerstone of maintaining democracy. They also said that the EC's overarching constitutional mandate to conduct free and fair elections gives them the right to do SIR after 40 years. What are they complaining about?
Logical discrepancy.
Yeah, I just said logical
Navika, at its simplest, this dispute was about whether only Indians should be voting in the elections in India, or should Bangladeshi, Pakistani, Rohingyas, etc. vote in the election. Now, if you believe that they should not vote in the election, and I have to say that because there are a lot of parties who want them to vote in the election, then who will ensure that only Indians vote and illegal immigrants do not vote in India? That is Election Commission. How does the Election Commission do that? It does it by periodic review of electoral rolls. That is some impurity come into it, have political parties in state manage to get voters registered who should not have been registered, and when Election Commission carries out that process, it will do how? By seeing documents. You bring in any law in this country, you remember CA, kagaz nahi dikhayenge, NRC, kagaz nahi dikhayenge. What is the objection to showing documents? You have a property, कागज नहीं दिखाएंगे, हमारा हक है, हमने बोल दिया तो हमारी प्रॉपर्टी है, नागरिकता हमारा हक है, हमने बोल दिया हमारी है, इलेक्शन में वोट करना हमारा हक है, हमने बोल दिया तो हम करेंगे. ऐसे तो देश चलता नहीं है, कागज पे ही चलता है, डॉक्यूमेंटेशन पे ही चलता है.
Absolutely, and the Supreme Court has upheld that as well, saying it is not disproportionate burden on the voter to produce documents. Exercise does not violate right to vote. The Supreme Court, I mean, you have to show a document. All of us have to show some document that we belong to this country. It's the same in every other country that you go to. Documentation is important. Supreme Court upholds it, but there are some netas who say, well, even the Supreme Court is fixed. Allegedly, that has also been said. If that is the position, if you believe no institution, then maybe it's Kali Yuga, and you're expecting gods to descend on the Mother Earth, because nothing else will satisfy the opposition. We leave it at that. Thank you very much to all my panelists for joining me on the News Hour tonight. Good night, be safe. I'll be back tomorrow with the News Hour at 9. Don't forget to join me.